So let me brief about the topic of the panel. Why we have chosen the topic cybersecurity and data privacy are two sides of the same coin. The reason behind this is today we can see that there are hundreds of companies that are into cybersecurity, data security, network security are there. So we say that data privacy is the first line of defense. So having said that, so let me start the panel, and we have an introduction about Pradeepta, who has gave a wonderful speech on data privacy from the Datasafeguard, how they comply the data privacy issues globally. And we have Sashank, and we have Lopa, and Mr. Rohit is there. So how many of you aware of differentiation between the cyber security and data security? Can anyone raise the hand? Okay, please, why don't you join us? Come, you are the next panelist here. Come, please join here. Let's have a big round of applause for the gentleman from Johor. Mike, yeah. Welcome. You are in the hot seat. Please join. Okay. So, can you address your name? Please use the mic. Yeah, but he's on.
My name is Sai Venkat, and I represent Zoho, and I head the partner enablement at Zoho.
Wonderful. To start with, why cybersecurity and data privacy are important?
Those are interconnected. Carefully, we'll have to handle these two things. Data privacy is to deal with the private, the PII data that we talk about. So that is where the data privacy comes in. And the cybersecurity is to deal with how these PII are stolen using the internet.
Wonderful. So I will talk to Rohit. Do you agree with what Raman said? You want to evaluate?
Yeah, I think, first of all, good evening, all the gentlemen and the ladies that were present here. Honored to be here and have a conversation on data privacy and cybersecurity. Yeah, I agree partially with him, and because, these are two very significant aspects where in data privacy deal with an individual's autonomy and the trust and the peace of mind of an individual, because the data of an individual is spreading here and there, and most of the decisions today are based on the data, right? In the highly digitized world. Wherein the cybersecurity, I look at it from the organizational perspective, and I look at it as an universe wherein the responsibility is to enforce certain regulation, come up with some of the policies, and ensure that these sort of data and information is not misused, it doesn't get unauthorized access, and it is not breached. And that's how, it becomes a greater responsibility of an organization and state, and ensure that it ensures protection not at the organizational level, but at the same time, nation as a whole. So this is my take on this.
So let's hear from Dr. Lopa.
Good evening, Kumar. Thank you, Dr. Sahu. It's a very important question today. There are lots of confusion between cybersecurity, information security, data privacy, and data protection. Now, why it is important? If it is an enterprise organization or a small organization, government or public sector, I think both cybersecurity and privacy in a single word at paramount.
Okay.
So what it is doing, when it is coming to the privacy, it helps us to protect the personal information, personally sensitive information, and establish the trust in this digital connected world. And now there are certain areas, I would say there is an overlap in between. And when it is coming to the protection, cybersecurity protects us from the cyber threats or cyber adversary. Now, what is the importance? The most importantly, it helps us to protect the business, protect the national security. It helps us to, protect us from the financial loss, establish the mutual trust between the business, client, and the partner. Also, it helps us to maintain the regulatory compliance where and when required. But most importantly, it is help us when it is coming to the cybersecurity. It helps us not only to protect the data, it is also help us to protect the critical infrastructure and the platform where the data is hosted, and that below the platform also help us to vet the most critical area, link of the cybersecurity or information security, that is the human behind and above that.
Good. So, Dr. Sashank, you want to complement what Dr. Lopa said?
Yeah. So let me take a few more steps back, right? I mean, before even wondering about.
So, for your information, Dr. Mohanty is the CISO of Karnataka government.
Yeah. Yes, of course. Yes. So let me take a few more steps back, right? I mean, before wondering about going deeper into the technical details of security and privacy, right? If I'm the business owner, what is the big deal? Should I be doing security? Should I be doing privacy, right? So putting it in a different way, what is the risk to my business? Or in another way, am I complying to the regional laws and regulations that I should be doing security and privacy? These are the two main drivers from a business owner perspective to do security and privacy. That would be my take from a risk and a compliance perspective.
Good. Right. So we will hear from Pradeepta. He is the chief architect of the data privacy product, and he has been got about 14, 15 patents in that. He wrote so many books on the things. That book was widely circulated across the globe. Let's understand from Pradeepta.
Yes. So when you look at cybersecurity, it's about building the guardrails, like protecting your data from unauthorized access. Nobody should be getting into your servers to get the data or to steal the data, etc. When you look at data privacy, it's about personal information. Now, personal information, even people having authorized access, they're not supposed to look at. Now, in security, you can just tell them, okay, you don't have right access, you don't get into this servers or systems to look at the data. But when people have access and they are stealing your information or they're looking at your information, then there is a breach of privacy. So privacy, why it's a problem? Now, when you look at, now today we are seeing deep fakes. We are seeing synthetic frauds, and synthetic fraud and deep fake will increase. Like as sir said, this will increase exponentially. Over next couple of years, you can see more such cases. Now, what is synthetic fraud? I just explained that before also. Now, if I have access to the personal data or private information, I can create misinformation as well. Now, nowadays something is going on, like you can see a fake Facebook profile, a fake WhatsApp profile, right? Sending messages to your relatives that, okay, I'm in trouble, just send me this much money. Many of you may have received it, right? How this is happening? Because somebody has access to your mobile number. Somebody has, like some actor, maybe sitting in some remote places, they have access to your mobile number. That's why they are creating a fake profile, sending you a message that, hey, I'm in trouble and send me the money. Now, sometimes you will not think twice. You will say that, hey, this is my relative and asking for money, okay, quickly send it, right? And sometimes also, and I'm sure that you must have received this. Somebody is creating a Facebook profile, fake profile, and sending messages to your friends seeking money, right? Now, these kind of incidents will increase over the years. Now, how this is getting leaked? Who is responsible for this? Okay, it's the fiduciary. Who is a fiduciary? The person who is responsible for collecting the data, maintaining the data. Now, if I'm collecting the data, the onus is on me that I have to secure the data. No other person should have access to this data. I have to ensure that, yes, your data is secured. Now, somewhere it is getting leaked today. Now, because of this data privacy laws, at least now the fiduciaries are more concerned, and they have now more rules, you can say. The government of India has introduced the rules as well. They declared, I think 2 weeks back, they released the rules. In January first week also, these rules would be getting updated as well. New rules will come up. But these rules ensure that if you are a fiduciary and you have access to your customers' data and collecting the data, ensure that it is secured and it is privacy enabled. That means all the confidential information, the sensitive information or the personal information, both are masked or redacted.
Good. So, cybersecurity, data security are two separate things. How big opportunity you see in the coming days?
Cybersecurity, I think when we look at the cybersecurity landscape today, more or less we have devices, we have applications, softwares to take care of these things. But when it comes to data privacy, there is, data privacy is like you have to protect the information, like people having access, they should not be seeing this. How we can ensure it? Now you can only ensure this when the data is moving from your live environment to some other environment. Then that's the place where there is a likelihood that this data may get stolen or may get exchanged, or like somebody is seeing those data. That is a possibility. The privacy space, if we look at, I think there are few applications or products today, and because of so many reasons. I'll tell you the reasons. The reasons are, if you redact the information, it is permanently lost. Now the organizations are wondering, if I'm redacting, then what is the next step? Well, how do I get it back? There is no way to get it back. Now masking. If I'm doing masking, okay, there are only 2-3 ways of doing masking. Now, and these masking things are, it's easy to, like someone can figure this out easily. Is there any advanced way of masking? Then what is that masking? Is there any algorithm? Is that an AI algorithm that can help us doing this? So that's why there is a confusion, and there are no such, like you can say, like 30-40 products are there in the market. No, only 5-6 players are there. And this space is evolving, and I think there is a huge scope for organizations also.
Rohit, what is your take on it? You have been in this industry from 2 decades plus. So what is your take on the market potential for this data privacy?
Yeah, I think with the law coming up, there is a huge market potential that I see, because data privacy has a lot to do with, origin of the data, that how the data is originating. So that leads to data discovery. And then the second very critical part is the data consent, and the third is the data protection. And all these things, lead to protect an individual's information which belongs to that person, right? And hence, by doing that, it is like upholding the fundamental right, because the entire origin of the data privacy is the fundamental right of the Constitution. Now, with the law coming up, it is very important for anyone to understand the content and the nature of data. As our colleague has just, spoken about masking of the data. There's the biggest challenge in masking of the data. There are a lot of tools which all the organizations are using at the endpoint to protect the data from being exfiltrated. And they're using and not to offend anyone, I'm so sorry, but it's very common practice to go for data classification tools, which is highly manual driven. You basically mask it by using keywords, or you classify it that this is critical, this is PI, this is PCI. But an individual can very easily write a Python script, and you can mask that information, that classification tag. And hence, that data gets exfiltrated and stolen from the endpoint. So what's the solution? There are a lot of research going on, and what I have come across is just one organization which we are dealing with, and that organization does auto classification of the data, wherein there is no manual intervention. It actually acts like a human brain. It can read the content residing in the document. It could be your Excel, it could be a PDF, it could be a JPG. It can create custom ontology, semantic analysis, understands the data, and it doesn't even allow the data to pass through from one individual to the other. Like Honorable ADGP belongs to police department and I belong to a different department, right? We are both working for the government organization. It's a common domain by NIC, and I can gain access to the data. But am I really supposed to get some criminal information if I don't belong to that department? No, I do not. But I'm yet trying to gain access. So what this tool does, it doesn't even allow the access of such information residing within the same domain, because it understands my role, function. So it allows auto policy synthesis to provide a role-based access. And such things are, going to give competition in the market. There are a lot of MII, I would say, organizations are working towards this to provide auto classification. So there is a lot of positive competition, and I see this will lead to a lot of innovative products. So I'm very hopeful, and I'm very, very excited about this act giving rise to a lot of innovations.
Wonderful. Anyone want to add what our Rohit and Pradeepta said?
Yeah, good, thank you. So with the explosion of AI, and the foundations of AI is again based on data, right? Definitely the market is going to explode. The word of caution is that we should tread the waters more carefully with the risks associated with the privacy risks and also the data security risks. So if we identify what kind of risks there are when adopting the data-driven approaches for getting insights, getting analytics to drive your business forward, that is when we can leap into the safer future.
Wonderful. So Dr. Lopa, I want to ask you, according to you, what are the key factors of successful digital business transformation?
When it is coming to the digital transformation, it's just not a, moving from one place to another. It is basically a complete journey. So when it is coming to the journey, it is very important that business should have aligned their goal, future goal specifically, and the current business objective, and start defining the strategy. While the strategy is defined, communicating that strategy to culturally bring the change. That is very important, that there is a culture built for that, because there are lots of things going to change. Then obviously, choosing the correct set of process, technology, and building the culture and support system around that. And this support system and the culture is not only within the organization, it is beyond the organization, your partner, your end user, everywhere we need to cultivate that.
Yes, Mr. Sai, I want to ask you, what your take will be on digital transformation helping achieving better business outcomes? You are into Zoho.
Okay, in India, let me back up a little bit. There is very less knowledge about data privacy. People do not know what is data, right? For them, they don't care about giving their mobile numbers or Aadhaar number, or some people even extend to go to give their debit card numbers, and there are a lot of SMSs coming in to re-register the Aadhaar so that they can use their credit card. So first, we need to, at the ground level, we need to teach them what is data and what are the critical data that can affect them, right? And then these businesses also have to adopt these new age technologies like the e-commerce platforms. When they sign up for e-commerce platforms, how do they store that information? A lot of data is scattered. So there could be data coming in from their website, data coming in through their telephone calls, data coming in through the email. All these needs to be consolidated at one place, and they need to be secured as well. So that is where this data privacy has a lot of scope here in India. But as the solution providers or product providers, we also have to be very safe. We need to ensure that the products that we sell is secured enough to hold those data private, right? So most of the time we could see that people can export the data in an Excel sheet and they can just send it through an email. And we don't have an audit log of when the data was exported, what was done with that data. So nothing is there. So we need to streamline these so that if I need to send some data to someone else within my organization or outside the organization, there should be some audit, some approval mechanism, and some sort of assurance for the business itself that the data that they are going to transit through some other source is secured.
Wonderful. Wonderful, Sai. Sir, I have a question for Dr. Mohanty. Sir, you are the CISO of Government of Karnataka. Lot of problems are coming into the field of cybersecurity and data privacy. So you must be taking so many measures to secure the netizens of the state. So if you can give some idea, it will give a knowledge that how netizens are safe in Karnataka.
Well, part of that answer will remain hidden. Obviously, we'll not be telling you about what precautions or measures we take to protect.
Yeah.
the data. But yes, general principles of data security, whatever we have, or information security on a wider this thing, they have been observed. We'll have firewalls. We'll have all that stride model, anti-stride model. I know most of you must be aware of stride. I don't need to. Do I need to expand upon what stride is?
Yeah, you can.
So the threats, the spoofing, then tampering of data, then repudiation of data, I is identity theft, D is DDoS, and E is escalation of privilege or elevation of privilege. So these are the main threats. Now, of course, we are having ransomware and other newer dangers coming. So you have to look at the main threat actors and the main threats that are emanating. And who would like to have a bite at the data? Generally, why would a person want to have that data? That's also a question. And then most of all, the thing that you need to guard against is the insider threat. So who is on the inside, who is likely to take your data out on a pen drive and go out, or on his laptop or her laptop and get out, and then sell that data? So not so much in the state has various different kinds of databases. I am looking after the crime database, and then there's a revenue database, then the database with the judiciary. All of them are very, very critical. Health databases are there in hospitals. You know what happened in All India Institute. So all of us are aware that data can be vital from different angles. Maybe the health data is vital from a different angle. The insurance companies would love to get at it. And criminals would like to, the cyber criminals would like to steal your financial data. And then somebody would like to wipe out his or her criminal data. It will be very useful if you do that. So the data protection depends on the kind of threat that you're looking at, and it has to be multifaceted. And if I just start expanding upon how data security is being maintained in Karnataka by saying that we're having next-gen firewalls, we're having next-generation intrusion prevention system, intrusion detection systems, WAFs, load balancers, like, zero-trust algorithms or zero-trust attachments, or IP obfuscators. I mean, these things are all very low-hanging fruit. I'm not going to expand upon them. They will obviously be there. But if you look at the central tenet, it is ensuring that the data doesn't go out or doesn't get pilfered, or more importantly, doesn't go to a person who is not supposed to be having that data. So these will be the broad principles of data protection. They will not vary for Karnataka or Madhya Pradesh or any other place. The levels will vary, the degree of protection will vary, but the principles will not vary. They will respond to the threats that are out there. Mostly we look at stride model, but nowadays I would say there are a few more additions to that. This thing we can, we have that on the OWASP websites, whatever these threats are. You can know that. I mean, I don't need to expound on them.
You're right, sir. There are, I think every day we are seeing that there is a financial loss from the bank. Huge financial loss. There are so many cases have been registered. So is there any chance that a consumer, a person who holds a bank account in a bank, he can get relief, some kind of complaint cell, state government prepares, and that can bring a relief to the account holders?
So this question is double-ended. One is the security from the enforcement side, like people like us, law enforcement agencies, we do something. And the second one is from the consumer side, insurance, the bank itself, the consumer himself or herself. So these are two aspects of the frauds that you are talking about, that we are looking at, financial frauds, which are happening by the day. So when we are looking at various aspects of security, of course, from law enforcement agency side, we are supposed to be somehow or the other informing the citizens about what are the dangers that are lurking, educating them, and when the crime happens, investigating it, and maybe even informing the data fiduciary, in this case the banks, as to what you're going. I'm not sure if I'm.
No, it is okay, sir.
Okay. So informing the banks as to what precautions they need to take. That is one side. The other side is the customer himself or herself, or the person, the individual, who's the most at risk and who's most affected. And that person has the most at stake also. So that person must be aware of preliminary sense of cyber hygiene, as we call it, the neatness. We are all aware of how to when to wash our hands, or when to take a shower, when to leave our shoes outside while coming into the house, and to clean and dust and clean the corners of the building. But even people who are very highly educated are not aware of elementary cyber hygiene. I mean, if that happens, you're leaving a lot of doors and portals open for cyber fraud. And that's what is being taken advantage of.
Yeah.
And the other thing, the insurance companies and all that, they'd love not to pay your insurance. They'd like to see that you don't end up taking money from them. And the kind of cyber frauds that are happening by the hundreds, by the thousands, by the minute. I mean, the insurance companies will have their cupboards bare if they start paying. So these are some of the things that you asked and I'm answering in terms of prevention, in terms of detection, in terms of hygiene. So which aspect would you like to harp upon or emphasize upon would depend on who you are, where you are occurring in the food chain, which rung of the food chain you're occurring on.
It's wonderful, sir. Thanks for your reply, and
Yes,
I think it is very valuable thing. Thank you. So to sum up, if I'll ask, if you speak in one sentence, how do you position that cybersecurity and data privacy is the two sides of the same coin? To start with, Sai, if you speak in one sentence.
Okay, data privacy, it is my responsibility, and cybersecurity is the vendor's responsibility.
Wow, great. Rohit.
Yeah, to some extent, a similar response that data privacy is to do something to protect my information, which is my right, and hence it is fundamental right. But when it is the responsibility of the others, then the role of the cybersecurity comes to enforce that my data residing within an organization or a nation or a state must be protected from being misused. Because I did not mean my data to be misused by anyone, and hence it's your responsibility. And that's where the role of cybersecurity comes.
Good. Pradeepta.
Yeah, so data privacy and cybersecurity, I would say that it's not the like two sides of the same coin. I think they are complementary, and it's not either or.
Wonderful. Sashank.
Yeah, I would say it's a shared responsibility, whether it is security or privacy. Security, the kind of systems that I use, it's even my responsibility to have a better password and things like that, enable MFA and stuff. Whereas privacy, it's better to minimize the data I'm going to put it on the public. So it's a shared responsibility, I would say.
Wonderful. Dr. Lopa.
As already previous panelists mentioned, there's a privacy and security complementing each other and their shared responsibility. But most importantly, when it is coming to the privacy, it's a willingness of an individual, how much information, where and when they are willing to disburse. Whereas cybersecurity is a mandatory requirement.
Wonderful. So we have a different takeaway from the discussions what we have gathered. So like opportunity in cybersecurity and data privacy is massive and multifaceted. That is projected to reach trillions of dollars in the coming years. Overall, the opportunity in cybersecurity and data privacy is immense and ripe for growth. By addressing the evolving threats and challenges, business and individuals who embrace these concepts tend to reap significant benefit in the coming years. So thank you very much for joining the panel. I would request, you have a question? Yeah, please. One question, please.
Very good evening to everybody. This is Nagesh from Cadwell InfoTech. It is really wonderful discussion. So my question is, in the context of cybersecurity and data privacy, data center location is also a major concern. Especially some of the countries, especially from Middle East, they have strict policies and regulations that the data cannot be stored outside of their country or region. So as far as India is concerned, because of the revolution of digital transformation, so is there any policy or is there any regulation that to restrict the data going out of our country? So is there any concern? Is it really a concern, or is it not a concern? So I would like to know more about.
Anyone want to take the answer, or I will take? You can take.
Yeah,
Okay,
so just to answer in short, yes, many regulated industries in India have this rule that the India citizens' data, customers' data should reside in India, right? And there are a lot of measures being taken as well, but those are in currently in the regulated industries as such, like financial services and stuff. Okay.
All the policies are in place in the
Yeah.
country. Okay. So with this, I would like to thank all the panelists for joining the session. I would request Dr. Mahan